She smiled as she placed broccoli in her cart, thinking it was the healthy choice. But what if that vibrant green floret was soaked in chlorine, grown in sewage, or worse, picked by someone who hadn't been paid in weeks? We've been taught that vegetables equal virtue, but behind the misty shelves and organic labels lie secrets so dark they make junk food look honest. What if your produce aisle is the most deceptive corner of the grocery store? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear will change how you shop forever. The plastic lettuce in store feels crisp. It looks fresh. But that lettuce you just tossed into your cart? It may be wearing a chemical mask. In one of the country's largest grocery chains, leafy greens are being coated with what insiders call a freshness shield, a thin, nearly invisible film designed to preserve color and crunch. But what they don't tell you is what that shield is made of. Plastic-based polymers, synthetic waxes, and petroleum-derived compounds. These aren't just moisture barriers. They're edible chemicals, ones that mimic plastic, bind to your gut, and interfere with your hormones in ways no label ever discloses. Experts warn that these coatings don't break down properly in the digestive tract. Instead, they accumulate, subtly eroding the delicate lining of your intestines and disrupting your gut microbiome. That salad you thought was healing your body? It might be slowly tearing it apart from the inside, but the betrayal runs deeper. These coatings are often labeled under harmless-sounding terms like vegetable wash, freshness protection, or natural coating agent. Sounds safe. Until you realize that under current FDA rules, companies aren't even required to list them, because they're considered processing aids. So unless you're peeling your lettuce, which no one does, you're likely consuming chemical residues every single time. And if you're feeding this to your kids, imagine what those compounds are doing to developing bodies that are far more sensitive to endocrine disruption. We're talking about potential links to early puberty, immune dysfunction, and even behavioral changes. This isn't a conspiracy. It's a business model. Shelf life over shelf health. Appearance over truth. The longer the lettuce looks fresh, the more they sell, even if it's marinated in molecular betrayal. So next time you grab that perfectly crisp romaine, ask yourself, is this really food, or is it engineered illusion? And if that doesn't make you rethink your fridge, wait until you hear what's next, because stores' vegetables, they're literally grown in human sewage. Grown in sewage. The dark secret of store, it looks like a tomato. It smells like a tomato. But it was grown in a sludge of pharmaceuticals, heavy metals, and human waste. At one of the nation's top-selling grocery stores, store-brand vegetables are being grown in what the industry calls biosolids. Sounds scientific, almost sterile. But here's the translation they don't want you to hear. Biosolids are processed sewage. We're talking about waste flushed from homes, hospitals, and factories, all treated and then dumped onto farmland under the illusion of sustainability. What's left behind after that so-called treatment? Traces of antidepressants, antibiotics, flame retardants, and toxic metals like lead, cadmium, and arsenic. Yes, arsenic. In the same soil that's growing your spinach. And you know the worst part? It's perfectly legal. The Environmental Protection Agency has quietly allowed the use of biosolids in conventional agriculture for decades. But recent investigations have raised red flags. These vegetables may absorb and store the chemical remnants of our modern lives, drugs, industrial runoff, even hormone disruptors. So when you roast that healthy zucchini from store number 2, you could be serving your family a cocktail of micropollutants that have no place in the human body. Now picture this, a mother trying to make the right choice, serving her kids steamed green beans grown in sludge. No label, no warning. Just the quiet continuation of a toxic cycle. And don't think you can rinse it off. These aren't surface-level contaminants. They're soaked in from the roots. This is internal contamination, slow, steady, silent. Meanwhile, store number 2s are Executives continue to slap their produce with green labels and sustainability buzzwords, marketing themselves as eco-conscious while dumping processed human waste into the food chain. But here's the kicker. None of it has to be labeled. You'll never see the word biosolids on the packaging. That choice has been stolen from you. So if you've ever wondered why chronic illness is rising, why children are developing allergies earlier, why immune disorders are exploding, maybe it's time to look beneath the roots, because store isn't growing vegetables. They're growing betrayal. And if that wasn't enough, wait until you see what store number 3's been doing. They've turned organic into the biggest lie on the label. Fake organic. Store's greenwashed lie. The price tag is higher. The label says organic. And yet, the danger might be even worse. Store number 3 wants you to believe their vegetables are pure, grown with care, free from chemicals. But the truth? It's a beautifully packaged deception, and one of the most widespread food betrayals in America. Their organic vegetables are often imported from overseas, countries where regulation is weak, oversight is minimal, and corruption runs deep. We're talking about farms in regions where the soil is saturated with heavy metals, pesticides long banned in the U.S., and even raw sewage runoff. And yet, the moment those vegetables hit our shores, they're rubber-stamped with an organic seal and sold at a premium. Why? Because under current loopholes, imported produce can be labeled organic as long as the exporting country claims it meets equivalent standards. But who's verifying that? Who's walking those fields? Who's testing that soil? No one, and it gets worse. Recent whistleblowers have revealed how entire shipments of vegetables from these foreign farms are being relabeled in transit. Boxes of conventionally grown produce are swapped with organic stickers. Paperwork is forged. Certifications are sold. And the consumer, you, are left paying double for the same toxic junk you thought you were avoiding. This isn't just fraud. It's a health hazard. Some of these fake organic imports contain residues of pesticides that have been directly linked to cancer, infertility, and neurological issues. And because you think they're organic, you don't scrub them as hard. You feed them to your children. You believe the lie. It's not just about the pesticides. It's about trust. The organic label was supposed to be the last safe space in a corrupted food system. Now it's just another illusion. Imagine this. You skip the processed aisle, head straight to the fresh section, and fill your cart with what you think is clean, safe food. But every bite carries a hidden risk, wrapped in green branding and feel-good slogans. You didn't choose poison, but store number 3 made sure you got it anyway. And if you think that's horrifying, just wait, because store number 4 is soaking your vegetables in something even more toxic. And they're not even required to tell you. The bleach-dipped veggies of store, that perfect carrot in your fridge, it was likely bathed in bleach. Store number 4 prides itself on appearance. Their vegetables are pristine, polished, and eerily vibrant. But that glow doesn't come from nature. It comes from a post-harvest chemical bath so aggressive it would make your eyes water if you saw it firsthand. Behind closed doors, millions of pounds of produce are rinsed in chlorine-based sanitizers, industrial-grade solutions designed to kill bacteria but never meant for daily ingestion. These aren't just quick dips. Some vegetables sit in these vats long enough to absorb traces of the chemical into their skins. And guess what? There's no legal requirement for them to tell you. They call it sanitation. They call it food safety. But what it really is chemical exposure hidden behind corporate hygiene theater. These bleach washes are linked to respiratory issues, gut microbiome disruption, and in some sensitive individuals, skin reactions and chemical sensitivities. Long-term exposure, especially in children, is suspected to affect hormone balance and immune resilience. But the industry doesn't care, as long as the lettuce doesn't brown, as long as the carrots don't dull, as long as that celery crunches just right. That's all that matters. Now imagine this, your toddler gnawing on a healthy raw carrot, a carrot that was bathed in the same chlorine compound used to disinfect public pools. Every bite a microdose of what the chemical industry calls safe. Every crunch a betrayal of your trust, and it's not just chlorine. Store number 4's processing facilities also rely on peracetic acid, a caustic oxidizer that can leave residue on delicate skinned produce. You won't smell it, you won't taste it, but it's there, lurking beneath the surface of your farm-fresh vegetables. This isn't washing. This is chemical embalming. And what's worse, these vegetables often carry labels like triple washed, ready to eat, or cleaned for your safety, as if they're doing you a favor. But they're not cleaning your vegetables. They're coating them in a lie, and if that made your stomach turn, brace yourself. Because the next store's vegetables aren't just chemically washed, they're chemically weaponized. And the people paying the highest price? Our kids. Behavior bombs. The neurotoxins in store produce. He was just 5 years old, and suddenly everything changed. Tantrums out of nowhere, inability to focus, sleepless nights. Doctors called it behavioral, developmental, but no one asked. The real question? What was going into his body every single day? Store number 5's vegetables may look harmless, even wholesome, but hidden inside those green beans, bell peppers, and baby carrots are chemicals that scientists have linked to neurological damage, developmental delays, and behavioral disorders in children. We're talking about chlorpyrifos, a nerve agent pesticide originally developed as a cousin to chemical warfare toxins. For decades, it's been sprayed on crops across the country. And although many nations have banned it outright, the U.S. still allows it under the veil of acceptable limits. What does that mean in real life? It means that even after washing, trace residues can remain on your produce. And when children consume them, regularly, repeatedly, those tiny traces can build up into devastating consequences. Recent studies have quietly suggested a link between prenatal chlorpyrifos exposure and lower IQs, attention disorders, and delayed motor skills. One study even found brain structure changes in children exposed in utero, and yet, store number 5 continues stocking vegetables soaked in these neurotoxins, with zero warning on the label. Why? Because the law doesn't require it, because the system is rigged to favor shelf appeal over brain health, and because your child's suffering doesn't affect their bottom line. Imagine a mother carefully steaming a bowl of peas for her toddler, thinking she's giving him the nutrients he needs. But what she's really feeding him is a substance banned in over 35 countries for its potential to damage the developing brain. It's not just chlorpyrifos. Store number 5's produce often tests positive for a cocktail of organophosphates and pyrethroids, all linked to neurodevelopmental harm. They say kids are what they eat. So what happens when what they eat is laced with invisible weapons? This isn't parenting paranoia, it's consumer betrayal. And if you think the system can't sink any lower, you're wrong. Because store vegetables, they're harvested by hands that are beaten, broken, and silenced.